This is your Barbados Today evening news update for Monday, June 17. Thanks for joining us. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. With 30 murders so far this year, 4 in the month of June, the top brass of the Royal Barbados Police Force today attempted to assure Barbadians there is no need for alarm. Commissioner of Police Tyrone Griffith reported that 19 of the 30 murders were by the gun, but reported that overall there is a decline in gun crime this year. He said the recent spate of shootings was targeted, lamenting that perpetrators have been resorting to the gun to settle their disputes.
What we have been seeing in recent months has been the brazen execution of individuals by others with whom they have been in dispute. These deaths have served to magnify the sense of fear in the population. We will continue to respond with force. These deaths have served to magnify the sense of fear in the population, and we will continue to respond with force to such reckless behavior. We have stepped up our stop and search operations. We will, with the assistance of the Barbados Defense Force, increase our patrols across the country, and we will continue to strengthen our criminal investigation arms. Persons who are intent on using firearms to settle disputes or otherwise commit crime must know that we will confront them with every force.
The crime chief again stressed the need for citizens to play their part in helping police to arrest violent crime.
So far, we have charged individuals in relation to 15 of these murders and expect to bring charges in another case shortly. We'll do our part, but all Barbadians must recognize that achieving and maintaining a safe society is not just the job of law enforcement, but for every member of the society. When you see things, when you hear things, when you know things, you have a duty to report them. Every Barbadian has a part to play in turning this situation around.
In other news this Monday, shouts of joy across several primary schools today as education authorities delivered this year's results. The top spots belong to Adriel Beard of St. Gabriel's, who scored 99 in mathematics and 97 in English. She's happy with her performance.
I'm very happy, and I feel like I went into that examination and I did what I wanted to do, and I'm very happy with my marks.
Brandon Squires of People's Cathedral is the top boy in this year's common entrance. He scored 100 in mathematics and 97 in English.
How do you feel about being the top boy in Barbados for the common entrance?
Great.
Did it pan out how you expected?
Yes.
When you entered into the examination, how did you feel?
A little nervous at first, but then I became comfortable.
Oh, which subjects are your favorite subjects at school?
Math.
And what do you like most about mathematics?
The simplicity.
School Principal Heather Bryan says her staff worked hard with the students.
As a Christian private school, we put our emphasis on God, and then we also put emphasis, our trajectory is that we are educating these students like Brandon for lifelong learning. And once we do that, we know then the common entrance, whatever you call it, whatever exam comes, that our children will do well.
Over at Christchurch Girls, top performer Ariana Blades, who scored of 240.99, was elated.
I feel very happy.
Or did you get into school that you wanted to get into?
Yes, please.
Could you kind of carry us back to examination day? What were your thoughts when you entered into the examination room?
I was just nervous. That's all I was thinking. I hope I don't mess up.
It was also a big day for Janika Walcott of Lawrence T. Gay. She's among the island's top 10 students, scoring a 241.52 overall. She's headed to Queen's College.
Feeling happy and excited. Was there any feeling that you could have made the top 10 before you were told? Yes. Okay. Tell me a bit, going back to that day when you were in the examination room, what did you tell yourself when you were preparing to sit the 11th class?
I can do it and don't make any careless mistakes.
Acting Principal of Lawrence T. Gay, Jacinta Alexander, praised Walcott's performance.
Of course, I'm going to be feeling ecstatic. We here always strive for excellence, and Janika is a very self-motivated student. She works hard, and I think she deserves her position as fifth in the island.
Overall, Education Minister Santia Bradshaw said there was a slight decline in the students' overall performance this year. The national mean in mathematics was 61.58, down from 62.46 in 2018, while in the English, the national mean was 65.74, a decrease from the 69.44 recorded last year. Minister Bradshaw said the results point to the need for reform.
And I believe if we can start the process of looking at those tests where we can certainly put in place systems to be able to help our students, we are then going to be in a position. I would have come through, and many of us in this room would have come through, and many listening. I do think that the statistics are clearly showing us that there is need for reform. A number of the students who are performing below average could perhaps have done with better assessments from an earlier age, having been identified both by the teachers as well as principals to be able to alert us as to some of the challenges students have been having. I think that it points to the fact that we need to test not just on maths and English, but to look at more well-rounded students.
Barbados Today recommitted to a zero policy against terrorism. Foreign Affairs Minister Dr. Jerome Walcott made the pledge as the visiting Foreign Minister of Cuba, Bruno Rodriguez Porrilla, participated in a wreath-laying ceremony at the monument to the victims of the Cuban airline disaster at Paynes Bay, St. James. Noting that Barbados treasures its partnership with Cuba, Walcott said that the island abhors the October 6, 1976 bombing of Cuban airline, in which 73 people died, and therefore it must insist on peace.
Terrorism in all constitutes a major threat to the peace and security of the hemisphere and must be condemned in all its forms. As we commemorate those who perished on that fateful day almost 43 years ago, we must strive towards a world where mutual respect and peace dominate. Let us eliminate the seeds of hate, intolerance, and terrorism where they exist, and strengthen security and cooperation through our efforts.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
To regional news now, Antigua and Barbuda's Prime Minister Gaston Brown says his country has been chosen as the location for the regional tertiary institution's fourth landed campus. Speaking on his privately owned radio station at the weekend, Brown said that he expects to receive the official communication tomorrow as he moves to have the Five Islands campus open in September with at least 1,000 students. The Prime Minister said he received a call from Vice Chancellor of the University of the West Indies, Professor Sir Hilary Beckles, who informed him that the members of the University Council have unanimously approved the fourth landed campus for Antigua and Barbuda. On the international scene, former Egyptian President Mohamed Morsi died today at the age of 67 after collapsing in a Cairo court while on trial for espionage charges. Morsi, a top figure in the now-banned Muslim Brotherhood, had been in jail since being toppled by the military in 2013.
Egyptian state media are reporting that the country's former president Mohamed Morsi has died while in court on espionage charges. The cause of his death is currently unknown. It reportedly came soon after he fainted. He's seen here during a previous court appearance. The 67-year-old was already serving a life sentence for other spying convictions, as well as for violence, kidnapping and torture of protesters during his presidency. Sworn in the wake of the Arab Spring, Morsi was the country's first democratically elected president when he took power in 2012. But the mass protests that brought an end to the 30-year rule of his predecessor Hosni Mubarak soon plagued Morsi's leadership. Public opposition escalated over his failure to deliver on election promises and his alleged efforts to give more power to the Muslim Brotherhood. In July 2013, that opposition peaked and Morsi was ousted in a military coup.
That's news, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media and bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. And you can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. Good evening.